You guys ready?
Ready.
You didn't get a mic check on me. Am I good?
Yeah, you're always good.
All right, good. I just felt a little left out.
Mic check, Justin.
Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep, we're rolling. Whenever you're ready.
All right. Welcome to You Have Real Estate with me, attorney Justin Clark. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, seasoned investor, or looking to sell your home, this next 30 minutes is designed for you. Think of it like hitting multiple open houses, all from your living room, with my attorney advice throughout the way. If you have any questions, I have people standing by right now. The phone number, 407-205-0400. Visit the website, youhavepower.com. I'm a little nervous about something right now, and let me just get this out in the open. The rental market out there is great. It's great if you're a landlord. But if you're just a family guy looking to put a roof over your head, the rental market's out of control. We can't afford the rental rates as they are now, but I can guarantee you the same house that you're going to go pay $2,200 a month for to rent, with the mortgage rates where they are today, you can go buy that same house for probably $1,800. And that's why I have Dallas Lehman, if you have mortgage, standing by right now. He can get you pre-approved. If you qualify, he'll get you pre-approved today. All you have to do is call the phone number, 407-205-0400. We're going to take some awesome tours of some fantastic properties and interview two great realtors throughout the show today. But before we do that, it is time for my opening statement. The opening statement today is really compliments of Dallas Lehman, who I mentioned earlier. He told me he had a closing yesterday, and the title company was absolutely terrible. And there's really no excuse for this. The title company they work for you. If you're a real estate agent or a mortgage broker, the title company is there working for you. They should not be giving you an attitude. You're their client. The title company should be there for you, but we have to use them, right? Especially if you're a buyer. You have to buy title insurance. If not, you're crazy. You have to buy the title insurance. But who pays for title insurance? Well, it's an interesting question. In Florida, in virtually every county in Florida, the seller actually pays for you as the buyer the title insurance policy. Why? I really don't know. But to complicate matters, there are some counties that the buyer actually pays for the title insurance. This is Sarasota County, Collier County, and of course, our friends down in Miami-Dade and Broward. You know, Miami-Dade and Broward is kind of like our little California down there. You know what I mean? They always like to do things a little bit differently. But the title insurance is great because if anyone were to ever make a claim against your home, the title insurance is not only going to pay to fix the problem, they're going to pay for your attorney to defend you as well. So title insurance is an absolute must. And you know, you have car insurance, you have mortgage insurance, and this is the kind of thing you pay every single month, right? The title insurance is an absolute one-time fee. So you're just paying it, and likely the seller is paying it, if you're the buyer, one time, and then you have it for the rest of the time you own the house. So if anyone tells you not to buy title insurance, send them packing because they're doing you a great disservice. We use a company called Core Title. You know, they do an outstanding job, and a title company, again, should never ruin a deal for you. As a real estate agent or as a mortgage broker, you know we have enough challenges getting to the closing table. The appraisal comes in too low. The inspection goes badly. The mortgage, they're not qualified for a mortgage. So many things can happen, but the one thing that should never kill a deal is that we get to the end of the month and the title company says, oh, we're so busy. We didn't run title yet. This is something that should never happen. If you're an agent, the title company really should be a pleasant robot for you. I mean, it's really a scientific method to get to closing table if you're a title company. And if they're giving you an attitude, you really need to change. If they're acting like they're too busy for you, you need to change title companies. It's very, very easy. We recommend Core Title. There are a lot of great ones out there, but keep in mind, if your title agent is treating you badly, making it seem like they can't get to you, you need to find a new title company. 407-205-0400. And now, without further ado, it's time to get to the fun part of the show. It's time for Real Questions. Every Saturday here on You Have Real Estate, we ask real questions to the real trendsetters in the Central Florida real estate market. Joining me today, it is Tiffani Morgan with Coldwell Banker and Chris Creegan, Creegan Property Group. Welcome to the show, guys. How are you?
Great.
Thanks for having us.
Chris, let me start with you. Why in the world does the buyer pay for title insurance?
That's a great question.
Why does the seller pay for the buyer's title insurance?
Yeah, it's a great question. And so we're one of the few states, and like you said, the majority of Florida, though, that the seller does pay for the title insurance. It makes no sense to me, clearly not to you either. It's the policy for the buyer, so in my opinion, and this is actually an option on our contract. When we write the contract, we have the option to select the title company that's handling the closing and also pay the title policy. That's an option we have, but most people don't elect that option, so it defaults to the seller picking the title company and paying for the title policy.
I always hear that it's the end of the month. I'm the title company. I'm so busy. Why is the end of the month such an important time in the real estate world?
I don't understand that really either. So, and the end of the month is going to come every single month, and why they're not prepared for end of month makes no sense to me. They know it's coming; it's on the calendar.
Right.
But the closing dates can be set throughout the month, but a lot of times people will set them at the end of the month just as a default, and I think it gets to in realtors' heads to kind of set them at end of a month for whatever reason, and then we end up with a lot of closings.
Tiffani Morgan, what is your take on the real estate market now? Are we hot? Is it slowing down a little bit? What are you seeing out there?
I feel like it's slowing down a little bit. I definitely do.
Yeah. And the prices, I mean, they've obviously gone up significantly over the last couple of years. What are you seeing now?
I think it depends on the area and the price point.
Yeah.
So the lower price points, they go quick. You're getting multiple offers the same day that it hits the market. The higher price points, they're sitting for longer.
Homeowners associations. We live in Florida. We have tons of homeowners associations throughout Florida. Almost every house you deal with essentially is going to have an HOA. Not everyone, but most have an HOA. What do you have to do to satisfy the HOA at the closing? Do I need to get their approval? How does the HOA really affect the closing of a house?
Definitely. The title company is going to reach out to them and find out exactly if there's any liens, make sure all of the HOA fees have been paid, make sure that if there's anything that the homeowner hasn't done to have the house, in compliance with their rules.
Yeah. Chris Creegan, what are some things that you see happen? So obviously I'm the buyer. I come in, I sign a contract. The seller signs the contract. We think about 30 days to get to the closing table. What are some things that happen between contract to closing that can kill a real estate deal?
Yeah, so there's a lot that goes on between that most buyers don't recognize all the work that goes on from the title companies in the background, the mortgage companies, and the realtors, the work that they're doing to get the property to closing. So a lot of things that come up for us will be issues with, again, like you mentioned, the HOA. There could be title defects that come up, unexpected liens on the property, and open permits. Open permits often affect our properties, so it's important that we are addressing that throughout the contract period too.
What do you mean by open permit? That's not something I hear on the show a lot.
Yeah, so let's say a seller puts on a new roof, but the roofer never closes out the permit. And then what we have to do then is find a way to get that permit closed, because if the new buyer takes over the property without that permit being closed, and then eventually, let's say the county puts a violation on the house for not having something in compliance, well, now the new buyer is responsible for that and closing out that permit. So if there's any money to be spent to get that permit closed, it's going to be the responsibility now of that buyer if they close with that open permit.
Tiffani, things like open permits or any sort of issues, do we start dealing with those at the beginning of this contract period, or are we scrambling around at the last 2 or 3 days? I mean, when should we start working on these things?
Definitely at the beginning, and for the most part, the agents will disclose it up front if they know.
Right.
I had one just recently that had an open permit on the driveway for pavers, and they didn't close it out because it was a miscommunication with the county, and the buyer didn't care, so she took it on with the open permit.
How do we even know what sort of work we have to get a permit for and what we don't? I don't even know. Do you?
Well, the best thing to do is to call the county. Okay. So you call the municipality or the county, find out if the project needs a permit. More often than not, it does. And then, what's happening is people are often pulling the permits and then just not closing them out for whatever reason. They forget, or the final inspection may have failed, and the contractor bailed. It could be a ton of different things that come up.
Can I just run down to the county and it happens like that, or is this something that takes a few days normally?
Well, there's a new law that came in effect, I think it was July 1, where permits that are older than, I believe, 5 years can be automatically administratively closed.
Oh, really?
So that's new, but permits that don't qualify under there, It could be as simple as going to the county and getting them closed out, but oftentimes it's a lot more complex than that. They're going to require an inspection, make sure it complies with the codes, and then fix any issues that come up, and then pay the money and the permit closed.
Gotcha. What are the differences between broker, realtor, agent? I mean, we hear all these names out there for the different ways to label a real estate agent, essentially. What are the differences?
Sure. So a broker is someone who's been through additional training and is the managing broker of a company. A broker associate would be someone who's been through that training but doesn't run their own brokerage. And then a realtor or agent would be someone who works underneath a broker.
Can we talk about the proper way to pronounce realtor? What is the right way to say it? Because there's a big argument out there right now. What's the right way to say it?
The way you just said it.
I said it right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Realtor.
But then when I see realtor, it always has a little trademark thing next to it. Why? Do you know?
I don't.
So the National Association of Realtors is a trade organization that oversees all of the realtors throughout the country.
So I can go take my test and become a licensed real estate agent, but I don't have to be a realtor because I didn't pay the fee or whatever.
That's correct. And so realtors are held to a higher standard than just an agent would be held to if they weren't part of the Realtor Trade Association.
Gotcha. Any closing table horror stories from either of you? A deal falls apart at the last minute. Why?
It could be any reason. So we had one recently where we went to closing. The seller signed the closing paperwork. Everything was on track. The lender said everything was on track. Buyer never shows up to closing. Can't understand why. The day after, we get a cancellation notice that the loan was denied. So the buyer just forgot to turn in paperwork and just disregarded the closing altogether.
No.
So the craziest things can happen.
And I mean, it's tough as an agent too, because we put a lot of time and energy into working on this file, working on this house, and then for it to fall apart at the last minute, we don't make any money.
Right.
Right? So that's tough. I mean, that is one of the more challenging parts of being a real estate agent, I presume, right?
And you never celebrate until it's completely done.
Yeah, exactly. I had
wanna
no
jinx
doubt
it.
about it. So, and Tiffany, you and I were talking about this before, and it's something I think about a lot as well. Describe the relationship between a real estate agent and whether it's the seller or the buyer. What is that relationship like?
You become like family. You become so close because you spend so much time together. You're talking on the phone. You're texting all the time. And so then once the deal closes, you kind of miss them because you don't talk as much anymore. So you become family.
Right. Certainly you hope they come back to you when it's time to buy or sell again. Do either of you find either the buyer or the seller who's normally a little bit more heated during the process?
It could be both ends depending on the situation. The story I just told with my seller who went to closing and signed and thought he had his house sold. A little heated.
Yeah.
And his house is in a moving truck, and they're moving across the state, and there's no closing occurring and no money. So
yeah, it's tough. What about the double closing? You're talking about a guy who, let's say they get relocated with their job to North Carolina, right? So they've actually purchased a house now in North Carolina, or they're under contract, but they can't get the mortgage on that house until they sell the house here. How do we time these things?
yeah, so it's a very delicate balance, and a lot of it is a lot of coordination between the agents. So especially when it's out of state, it's important that we're coordinating with that agent out of state to make sure that we're on the same page on timelines, on contractual deadlines, and where we are in the process to make sure we're all on the same page there.
Got it. All right, Tiffany. So, we normally think 6% commission in Florida is very standard, and I think you should pay that. I don't even like it when you really try to negotiate that down too much, because then you risk losing some buyers because we're taking the commission away from the potential buyer's agent as well. But I think that there's this whole theory out there that the real estate agent's getting this entire 6%. We don't have any expenses. We don't have any sort of costs that go with running our little business, which is your real estate agency, or you as a realtor. There are expenses there as well, right? You're not just pocketing the entire 6%.
Right.
Marketing, postcards, if you're doing old school postcards, there's a lot of expenses. Even now on social media, you can pay for ads. There's a lot of expense put into it. Brokers opens, you're paying for food, you're paying for, just open houses, having, things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, most people don't realize the expenses that it takes to actually market and sell a property. So there are people that are out there doing things at different rates, right? And that's someone's choice to make. But in order to properly market and sell a property, it does take great exposure, because the more exposure we can get for a property, the higher price point we're going to get. So we're going to offset as much cost as we can with a higher sales price.
Absolutely. Good job, guys. All right, are you ready to tour some properties?
We are.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, if you are renting a home, be very careful. The rental rates have skyrocketed. They continue to go up. The mortgage rates continue to go down. And even if you've been through a foreclosure, a bankruptcy a few years ago, and you're afraid that you won't qualify for a mortgage, the lending guidelines have eased up significantly since that whole 2009, 10, 11 time. And most people that we deal with are able to qualify. So, look, don't be scared. Give us a call, 407-205-0400. Dallas Lehman, whether you have mortgages standing by right now to pre-qualify you, and maybe you can even make an offer on one of the homes we're about to see right now. Tiffani Morgan, Coldwell Banker, is going to take us over to Stone View. Tiffani, where is this house?
It's really close to downtown Orlando and Boone High School.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
This neighborhood is called Porter Place, and there's about 75 homes in it. It's gated. This one is 5-bedroom, 4.5 bath, and it's listed for $678. It's definitely an entertainer's house. This is a movie room. It comes got the movie screen and the projector. The kitchen itself is set up perfectly for entertaining. It's got double ovens. It's got 2 dishwashers, built-in Miele steamers and cappuccino machines. It's an amazing house. Somebody that works downtown, tired of the commute, it's perfect for them.
Is this like near the Delaney Park area, or where is this?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep,
I mean, that's
exactly.
a pretty good price, I think, for being that close to downtown. How big is this house?
This one is 3,600 square feet, and it is on a half acre.
Beautiful.
And to be in a gated community downtown, it's nice.
Yeah, a gated community in downtown. You don't see that a lot, do you?
Definitely not.
Wow, that's a beautiful home over on Stone View. If you have questions, would like to see the house, I'll hook you up with Tiffani right away at 407-205-0400. We're going to check out another piece of property you have here. Did I hear there are cows on this land?
Yes, and they're not my favorite.
Yeah, this is over on Gilliam Road. Where's Gilliam Road?
It is near Clarkona Ocoee Road, north of Popcove Island.
There are the cows
There's the
there.
cows.
Beautiful.
They scared me to death last weekend at a showing.
Better than alligators.
Yes, this is true. I agree with you on that. This one is 29 acres. There's 3 parcels, and the owner will split the parcels. One of them has one side of the road, and there's 7 acres. That one's going for $329, and then on the other side of the road is the remaining 22 acres. There's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a pool that used to be a fern nursery. So he would grow ferns and send them off throughout the country. It was in business for about 30 years, and he just wants to retire.
Wow. So who would be a good buyer for this one?
Somebody who still wants an Orlando address. If they want to build, they can have 1 to 3 acre homes. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1 to 3 acre, one per. I'm messing that up. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
On one side, you can get 3 homes, and then the other, you can get about 6.
Right.
So this is 1 to 5. This is 1 to 3. Sorry.
So someone would develop this, you think? Is that?
Hopefully.
Yeah, that would be the
I've
goal.
marketed it to builders. I've marketed it out there.
Right.
I even had a showing, the one where the cows got me, to somebody who wants to put a wedding venue out there.
Oh,
And
great
build
idea.
something, because it's pretty. It's still Orlando, and it's
Right.
all rural.
What is the price point on that one?
For all of it, it's 1.3.
Oh, wow.
It appraised at 1.4, so we have it marketed a little bit under.
Sure.
And then he will split, so it just depends how much land they need.
Beautiful. You're looking for an investment property down there in the Ocoee, Popka Vineland,
Yeah.
Gilliam Road area. Give us a call right now. I'll hook you up with Tiffani Morgan, 407-205-0400. I'll also post these on our website, so you can go to the website, youhavepower.com. youhavepower.com. Great job, Tiffani Morgan. You're going to stick around for the Real Estate Roundtable, I hope,
Definitely.
right? All right, we'll come right back to you in just a minute. Now let's go to Chris Creegan. Creegan Property Group has 2 awesome houses to show us as well. Heading down first to Winter Park. This is Chapman Circle. Tell me about this one, Chris.
Yeah, this is a great home. So this is in the Windsong community.
Oh, yeah, I know
So
Windsong.
right off of Glen Ridge. So this is in an awesome location. So convenient to downtown, convenient to Winter Park, nice neighborhood, great amenities. This is a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath home, private pool along with the community pool, splash pad, lake access, water sports on the lake. Again, great community. This one has 3,899 square feet. really nice Mediterranean home, and we're priced at 1.195 on this one. So
When
this
you say
one-
lake access, what do you mean exactly?
So this one's in a lakefront community.
Okay.
So this community allows access to the community boat ramp, which has a community boat you can use, paddle boards, all kinds of equipment down there at the lake. And again, it has the splash pad on this side of the community. The other part of the community, it's separated by a nature preserve.
Oh, okay.
But you have access to both sides of the community, and this side has a splash pad and pool.
How are the schools down in that area?
Schools are A+ schools.
Oh, great.
Excellent schools.
And when you're working with buyers, how important typically is the school system to them?
So the school zones are typically one of the first questions we're asked about our listings. So here we are in Winter Park in one of the best school zones in town. So
When you're selling a house for over $1 million, do the buyers typically, are they sending their kids to private school anyway? Or a lot of them saying, I want to know what the schools are like because I'm going public?
yeah, it's a mix. So a lot of people are thinking about it not only for where they're going to send their kids, but also for resale purposes.
Yeah.
So even if they're going to send their kids to private school, they want to know, in case they do resell it or when they do resell it, what are the schools like?
Yeah, good point. Resale is important, and the schools are always going to be important in that resale value.
Right.
If you have any question about this house in Winter Park on Chapman Circle, Chris can be reached 407-205-0400. Now let's head up to Seminole County, Lake Destiny Trail. Where is this in Altamont Springs?
Now this is an awesome home and a great location. This is off of Maitland Boulevard near I-4, so very convenient location, access off Wymore Road, gated community. This is actually a guard gated community, so it's not one of those boxes you pull out
Right.
and enter a code. You walk up and there's a 24-hour guard there at the property. So very, very secure feel by having that guard there.
Yeah.
This is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath pool home, and the great thing about this one, it's on the canal. So this one leads out to a beautiful lake. So this is a really active lake. People are out and about all the time. So this is a really nice home, but also a nice location with the good lake access. Inside, they've done a ton of updates. It's a tri-level home, a really, really neat layout. And here we've got the 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. We've got 2,500 square feet. And again, recently updated and totally move-in ready.
So where is this in Altamont? I can't figure this out in my head.
So it's off of Wymore Road is where the access point is, but it's just the closest intersection with Maitland Boulevard and I-4.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. So it's kind of almost like Maitland area too, right? I mean,
Kind of,
sort
right, yeah.
And I'm sorry, what was the price point on this one?
This one's listed at $439,900. So a
pretty
great
good price.
Great price for a waterfront home.
And it looks, fairly updated there too, right?
It is.
Inside?
Yeah, very nicely updated inside. The owners have done a nice job inside there.
How important are open houses?
Well, there are mixed feelings at open houses. So we've had open houses where we've had lousy turnouts and inhibited by the rain, and then we've had some where people walk in and say, I'll buy the house today. Where do I sign? And we've actually sold a house at the open house.
Right.
So mixed reviews there.
So I'm not a real estate agent, but I have a lot of realtor friends, of course, and sometimes we get accused of only doing open houses to get more buyers. You don't think that's true, right?
No, that's not true, and it does bring a lot of exposure to the
Yeah,
property. So
right.
people that are sometimes don't want to waste a realtor's time by going on showings.
Right.
Sometimes are our best buyers. They'll walk in and say, "This is the home for me," and they do. They buy it right on the spot.
I don't see any reason why a seller wouldn't necessarily want to do an open house.
Well, some have privacy concerns.
Okay.
People wandering through the home, and in all of our open houses, we're doing this for a long time. We've never had anything go wrong in an open house, so I think those concerns are unfounded.
Beautiful. If you have any questions about this home in Altamont Springs, give us a call right now, 407-205-0400. I'll connect you with Chris right away, or if you want to get pre-approved to make an offer on any of these houses today, the same number, 407-205-0400. Chris, good job. Awesome properties. I think we're going to get those sold very quickly. But now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it is time for today's Real Estate Roundtable. Every week, we address your questions. All you have to do is go to the website. You can ask me questions right there, youhavepower.com, and we may just answer them next week on You Have Real Estate. All right, let's get right to it. Pete in Longwood says, I'm selling my home, but I'm still waiting on an insurance claim to be settled. What can I do, Chris?
That's a great question. So this is where the coordination.
You can always say call a lawyer if you want
Right,
to.
right.
And then I guess I have to answer my own question.
Right, that might be the best thing to do, and honestly, that's really good advice. So from our standpoint, some coordination between obviously a lawyer and then the buyer and seller would come into play here. The best solution would be to extend the closing until the claim is settled. That's number one. There are some remedies in the contract to allow for issues like this to happen post-closing, but again, consulting with an attorney on that might be your best bet there.
And speaking of attorneys, let's go down to Kissimmee. Henry and Kissimmee ask, do I have to have an attorney for closing? Tiffany Morgan.
No, definitely not.
I totally agree. And, I'm an attorney. I should probably be saying you should get an attorney. But, quite frankly, if you have a good agent and a good title company, you should be okay, Jaden and Lake Mary, who pays the real estate commission and how much is it, Tiffany Morgan?
The seller pays, and it is typically 6%, and it can be negotiated.
Melissa in Boston. Justin, I love the show. We watch all the time on Facebook. I'm thinking about buying an investment property in Orlando. Is now a good time to buy, Chris?
Anytime can be a good time to buy if you have the right agent and you buy the right property. So it all depends on the property and the numbers make sense. So finding an agent who deals with investment properties, who can properly analyze all aspects of the property would be key there.
Cindy in Knoxville, Tennessee. I love watching the show on clickorlando.com. When are you taking the show to Tennessee? I never. It was certainly not in the wintertime. But if I do ever come to Tennessee, I promise you it'll be during the summer because I'm done with the cold weather. You know what I mean? All right, one more question here. Mila in Winter Springs, I have an IRS lien on my house. Will this prevent me from closing?
It can. It sure can. So if the lien on the property can be paid off with the proceeds, then of course we can go to closing. The IRS will be paid off at closing. Otherwise, we're going to have an issue.
Beautiful job today. That was fun, right?
Definitely. Thank you.
You had a good time?
Yeah.
We
Very
both
nice.
did awesome, and you're
Thank
invited
you.
back anytime. Thank you so much for being here, okay?
Thanks for having
Appreciate
us.
it. Yes.
And most importantly, thank you for joining us here today on You Have Real Estate. If you have any questions about anything we talked about today, or you need to get that pre-approval letter, or you want to make an offer on one of the houses we showed you today, people are standing by right now in the office, 407-205-0400, or visit youhavepower.com. I'm attorney Justin Clark, and I'll see you right back here next week for another edition of You Have Real Estate. Good job, guys. That was fun.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good job.